eating podcasts for dinner.
Are we actually?
Yeah, we've been live for like minutes.
Hi.
Okay.
Sup, everybody? Hey, guys.
Hold the
Welcome.
applause. Hold the applause.
Oh, I thought you said okay, pause. I was like, that's a terrible time to call.
No. No.
So this is like, I guess, the first like proper podcast for season 3.
You
Because
can call it that.
what we just released was more just like us being couple of goofballs.
That's fun, though.
It is fun. It was actually a lot of fun. And Leo won. Leo won all that
I
shit.
did.
Congrats.
Suck on that, Landon.
Brandon. Brandon. You know what?
Where are those passion folaques now,
I
Brandon?
know Landon is listening because he is just so devout. I'm gonna take these headphones off now. I feel like I'm being weird.
You look like a
You
gamer.
are weird.
I look like that skull.
Yeah.
I wish I was Nicolas Cage in Ghost Rider.
You're a square version of PewDiePie. Yeah, just like square.
Are you calling me a square, or are you saying just my shape is very much a square?
You take that as you wish.
I am a unit. Joanna, I can tell you're nervous, fam.
No.
No.
I'm fine.
No.
I just zoned out for a minute. It's fine.
Joanna.
I'm
you
honored
drunk?
to be
No.
here, though. Honored.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Honestly, it's cool. We were talking about this at some point in time because weeks now feel like months and somehow days feel like years.
No concept of time.
It
Zero.
doesn't exist.
Yep.
But I thought it'd be cool to start it off with us talking about how all of us met.
Oh, that's
'Cause
such a
that was
cute
like-
story. I love this story.
When was that? Like May or April?
End of April.
End of April.
So-
Still cold out.
Really wasn't that long ago.
No. Yeah, it wasn't that long ago.
No, it's 5 months.
Not
right?
even.
Not even.
End of April, yeah. Not even 5 months, right?
Wow.
Was it after the Freeme shoot? Must have been before.
Do you want me to look up the exact date?
If you are able to do that, then you work for the FBI.
It was probably the day that I posted my first concert photo on Instagram. That's why.
It's true.
True. Okay, let's search it up. And in the meantime, you can also plug your Instagram, whatever the app
It's
is.
just my first name dot last name.
That doesn't help people.
Okay. It's Joanna.Roselli. Thanks so much.
So that day,
I missed the G.
Yeah. Do you want to share? You can talk about that, Leo.
Well, before her name changed.
My name didn't change. My username changed.
Her changed. That's a name change.
Right.
Every photographer knows that we don't tell each other what their names are. We talk to each other with our handles.
I need,
Especially-
I need other photographers to
Especially,
verify this.
other photographers can confirm this.
Please do.
Especially when we first meet each other. We've seen each other all over the web.
Because when I don't meet drummers, I don't
you
meet
just-
some guy that's like that funky
You-
drummer boy.
You associate that person with their username
Yeah,
because
100%.
your business is so much like
Like
it's
your
so
brand and your
structured
name.
on Instagram. I will say.
Especially when it's other creators too. Like
April
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 is it?
23rd
April 23rd.
or
like the
22nd, 22nd or
Day
23rd.
before Freeme was like the 24th.
Yeah.
Hold on. What day of the week was it? Do we remember that? No, it doesn't matter.
Between Tuesday to Thursday.
Okay, it was either the 22nd or the 23rd.
Wow.
At the Bovine.
At the Bovine.
The Bovine.
Oakrest show. Shout out Oakrest.
Yeah, shout out to Oakrest, bros. Jacobs, Graves, and Sabo.
Jacob
and
Squares.
Michael Van and Chris. And then there's another guy I have yet to meet that's in that band.
Right.
They're
But
rad.
back to the username thing because we totally lost track of that.
Welcome
Basically,
to the
my name
Bovine.
instead of the dot used to have a G in it. G is my first initial of my middle name. And for a while, I was getting frustrated because when I would go for media passes or I would look at my name on people's guest lists, it would say Joanna Groselli, which is not my last name.
Yeah.
And it would frustrate me. And then I looked in Leo's contacts, and it said,
Joanna Groselli.
which
Yeah,
is
I
not
love-
my
I
last
love the
name.
G.
No, I hate it. So I changed my
I
username.
just learned that today that your name doesn't have the G in it. Because when
Stop.
when I was saving the Logic session, I literally put like episode number 26 with Leo Montero and I wrote Joanna JROS. And I was like, how do you spell your last name? And you're like, RO. And I was like, there's no J. And then I just deleted it.
You mean a G?
Did I say, oh my God, I keep saying J.
Damn.
Yeah. G.
Wow.
A, B,
Well,
C, D,
I'm
E,
putting
F,
that-
G.
I'm putting this on blast. If anyone thinks that my last name starts with a G, it is incorrect. It indeed starts with an R. G is for my middle name, which is Grace.
You're
True.
always gonna be Joanna
Nope.
Roselli in my heart.
Bro, like,
That's not fair. It's not fair.
it's not fair.
It's not fair.
Yeah, I can't believe I just said J like 6 times.
That's okay. There's a J in my name, so it's fine.
True.
You were probably confused.
There's my cop out. There you go.
So, anyways, we did meet at my first photographed show because I decided like the week before I wanted to be a concert photographer.
Sick.
I love to wake up one day and decide things.
Yeah.
Don't you?
You ever seen that, you know How I Met Your Mother, where the character Lily decides to try all these different professions? Do
No.
you guys ever remember that?
I've seen a couple episodes.
I am not a How I Met Your
Don't
Mother
kill me.
guy.
No, I'm like the minority here. You guys haven't seen it. I'm over here like this whole show references my life, and then like no one gets
It's okay.
it.
People do that with friends.
We're just gonna drop it because no one knows.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize. It's my fault.
I'm not sorry.
Yeah, I know. I was waiting for Leo to be like, "You're a piece of shit." I'm like, totally. So yeah, we played. Well, I did a session like fill-in gig for Oakrest. I was a bateria, right?
Right. Yes.
I'm going to the
You
Dominican
filled in
2
for
weeks,
their
so I
drummer.
gotta start practicing.
Nice.
I started watching Narcos again,
Nice.
even though I'm going to the Dominican. I'm just like
great.
going up to the waiter at the resort. Plato plomo. He's like, what?
That is so not
Sir.
PC, buddy.
Sorry,
That is so not PC, buddy.
not even a little bit. No.
Oh, that's funny.
But yeah, I played for Oakrest and then met you.
I just remember I had no clue what the heck I was doing. Like I initially went to my first live show back after the pandemic in April, like earlier, like literally
the
like
same
the
month.
week before. Yes. It was at History. I went to 2 in the same week. It was Peach Pit and Mount Joy. And I looked around and I saw photographers and I saw a couple of people that looked like our age. And they had similar gear as me. One girl shot Sony. I shoot Sony. And I was like, I never thought this was like a thing. But if she could do it, maybe I could do it. So I just walked up to her, asked her, like, how did you get into this? How long have you been doing it? Kind of like any advice, tips. And she just said, honestly, just get a portfolio, do some free gigs, get yourself out there. And that's that. And that's exactly what I did. I just literally looked up on Instagram, hashtag Toronto Band. Oakrest came up. I
Nice.
messaged them. I was like, hey, I've never shot a show before. I need photos because I kind of want to start doing this, see
Yeah.
if I like it. Can I come out? I wouldn't charge you anything. And they were like, yeah, sure. We'll throw your name on the guest list. I showed up. And then Leo was the first person I met. He was just standing in front of the stage with his camera. And I was like, okay, this guy definitely knows what he's doing. I'll just ask for his
Allegedly.
advice.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
I don't know. I don't know.
Blah, blah,
Well, if you were doing what I wanted to do, basically.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. Yes. Thank you. So, and I just kind of, you were really nice. And I was there alone.
Aww.
Ah, cute.
Yeah.
Dad.
And then
Puppy.
I met Ian after the show. But I do remember, taking photos. And then you looked right at me and like smiled or made like a face or something.
I remember
And
that.
I was like, cool, thank you. Like it made me feel like noticed, I guess.
Sick.
Which is nice.
That's always nice.
Yeah.
As a photographer, whenever they notice that you're there and they do something, usually that makes the best photos.
Definitely.
That's also one of the compliments that I hear that you get a lot because I mean I spend more time doing photos with Leo.
Of course,
by
you've
default,
known
right?
each other longer.
But
and yes.
every time I'm with anybody and you're taking photos that hasn't been around you enough, right? They're like, I never realize like Leo's there. You know, they're like, oh, he just got this photo, this candid photo. Maybe candid is the right word. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's correct.
But it's like, you know, the photo of they're talking to another person or another friend and they're laughing and then Leo just caught that one individual.
yeah, it's a candid.
And I was
Yeah.
like, true. I didn't know. I thought one of the things for photographers was like you guys like to be almost invisible in the sense of like I'm capturing the most pure moments because you don't even know that I'm there.
Like a
And then
fly on the wall.
Yeah, but it's like, but look at how I've captured you.
It depends. It depends on like the type of thing that you're shooting. If it's a wedding, then in my opinion, stagnant. Like all the whatever poses are great, standard, mom, dad.
Yeah, the dance.
Yeah, whatever.
Recital,
But when you get
reception,
someone like naturally talking to someone or looking off to another direction, that's different. But for concerts, they're in their element.
Yeah.
They don't
True.
even they barely notice the audience. They definitely don't notice the photographers if they're really into it. And the photographers are just like, even on a stage, you're raised. The photographers are on the ground in the pit.
Most of the time, you don't see us.
No, you don't. We are invisible essentially, and like if we're hired to be invisible. We're not supposed to be blocking the audience. We're just supposed to get the shots of the artist literally doing their art and performing. So when you're in the middle of like, I don't know what it's like to perform because I don't do music, but I can only imagine like you're in the zone and then you look up and you're just like. You just find like it's I don't know. I just feel like it's nice.
It is.
Takes something to do that, right?
There's certainly moments where it can kind of throw you off.
Yeah, that's what I mean too. Yeah,
it depends on the individual at that time in their life or that day in their life. Really, what the gig is, what the gig means. Like I remember I did my Humber recital, and the like schedule coordinator, for lack of a better word, her name was I think it was Anya. She's married to Mike Downs, the upright bassist. If you guys know. Yeah, you guys don't know. In my brain,
okay.
I just played the 808 like cricket sound. It was just like,
you can add that in.
Yeah, I can add that in. Exactly. Brandon, add that in, please.
Brandon.
He's gonna be editing on, motherfucker.
He's gonna hate us after this one.
I remember that gig. That was the band like practice or like not practice. I should say it was like the band recital. And I remember being like, damn, I'm hella nervous. And then I'm looking at all my clothes and shit, and they're all like band shirts and shit. I don't have like anything nice. And I was like, fuck, like, what do I do?
That is
And he used one of my
relatable.
dad's shirts, like one of his dress shirts, like the day of, right? And so I'm sitting there in this shirt that I haven't worn anything nice in like a year. It feels all weird. We get behind the drums. We start playing this like straight ahead, fast jazz tune. And then the photographer comes up. And then I'm like, and the first thought in my brain was like, oh shit, she's going to capture this like 40 minutes of me fucking up, forever. I was like, damn, that's scary as shit. And then.
How close did they get?
Oh, they were like right at the edge of it was the Humber Auditorium. So they're like right there. Like the distance from here to the wall.
Was it distracting how close they were? Or would you
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
No, I was at the back of the stage. She was at the front of the floor, and she was doing her job. It was just me being like, it's the end of the year. It's the big performance thing. It's the finale of one of your classes.
Yeah.
So it's like your exam in a sense, right? And then not too long after that, played CMW like 3 weeks in a row, and like every photographer I saw, I was like, the same principle, the same thing.
Why? Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's good.
You know why it's so good? Because it just shows how confident you are in your skill.
Right.
That you're like, you love what you're doing it, and you obviously you look up and you don't mess up. But if it was like your first recital, then I totally get that because you're just focusing on like not fucking up. But when you see like, like famous artists or whatever, and they're just not even looking at their instrument, and they're like jumping up and down or like looking at the camera or like pointing or like doing a handstand, whatever it is, it's just shows how much more confident they are in their ability to perform and perform well.
And it's cool because like the same I was gonna say that the same like thought happened the exact same time, or rather like a new time, but in it like the thought at Humber was, oh man, she's gonna capture this forever. It was coming from a place of like, oh fuck.
You're just nervous.
And then like a fucking week later, I'm like, oh wow, they're gonna capture this forever.
Yeah.
It's the same sentence, but like the way it feels in that same scenario, Oh yeah. It's two different worlds.
I feel like for most people that work under pressure, like everybody in this room, you get this tunnel vision too, right?
Yeah.
It happens to me. I don't know if it happens to you. Like once you're in the pit, you have 3 songs, which is anywhere between, it could be 7 minutes. It could be 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really know unless you know. Obviously, you research the artist. You look at what the artist is playing. You try to get a basis on the set list and kind of see how much time you actually have, right?
Right.
But you don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
So it's like once you walk in, the lights go on, and they get on stage. It's like you don't look at anything else but the artist, right? Everything kind of gets muffled. I don't know if that happens to you. I mean, I think the only time that did not happen to me was when I shot like my favorite band, because it's like one of those moments where you're just like, I love the music so much, I'm just gonna sing it while I do it.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
otherwise, it's like, for me at least, it's like just like blank face.
Yeah.
Like I don't hear anything, I don't see anything. All I see is through my lens. That's for me.
I don't know. I don't think maybe I had that my first couple of shows because I was really nervous and I had definitely struggled with imposter syndrome.
Right.
Because I was like, I don't think I'm good enough to be here. I don't think I have as much experience as other photographers, whatever. And I would get really nervous and like sweaty and just like literally start photographing. But as I did it more often, I kind of got bored with just looking in my camera or just, and I started being like, okay, how can I like be outside of the box doing this? Like, what else in the room can I do? Because realistically, I don't know, you can show up, you can shoot, and you can leave, or I could try to stand out and like do something unique and look outside of the stage, look at the audience, look at their faces, look at the shoes that the artist is wearing, look at like a cool angle, like what I can focus on, like a beer glass that's like rested perfectly on the tip of the stage right in front of an artist who's drinking it. Like, I don't know. So that's just definitely something I struggled with at the beginning, but I don't really do tunnel vision
See,
anymore.
I do that previously. Like I try to, like, if I'm there with enough time, sometimes we don't get that time. So you
It's
have
true.
To,
It
you have
depends
to
on the show.
observe while you're doing it.
Right.
But if we have enough time, or if we get there beforehand, if you're doing sound check, I love to just sit and like look at the room, or look at where I'm gonna be standing and see where I can be different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Do photographers ever like look at another photographer online, right? Like for example, you see so many drummers on Instagram today like set up their kit exactly like Travis Barker and play exactly like Travis Barker and shit, and they do the
I didn't know that.
over the shoulder like
Yeah,
smash
do
the
the
cymbal
smash
and
it.
shit,
Ah,
right? And,
gotcha.
and it's so much like I'm gonna play exactly like Travis kind of thing. Do photographers get that?
Not, I don't think. Okay, mannerisms are one thing. Travis Barker is probably the most unique drummer there is. That is like
In the mainstream.
in the mainstream.
Yeah.
That, but not like musically. Yes, everybody, when you hear a tune, you know it's Travis Barker behind the kit.
Yeah.
Right? If you know Travis Barker, but I think that Travis Barker is probably one of the only drummers that makes a point to be over the top.
Yes, he certainly makes a point to
You know what I mean?
like move in the sense of like you could just swiftly hit a cymbal, but instead I'm gonna like overextend like crazy to get that
Exactly,
that visual
and still be
effect.
on time, which
Yeah.
is insane.
That
Yeah,
comes
absolutely.
with like practice and confidence, and then like I said, even once you're comfortable, then you can kind of like take that extra step into like doing your own thing, like having your creative style.
But
if
is there
you would.
like a photographer that's like a Travis Barker where a certain photographer has like a specific style?
No,
It's
like-
different. It's different
different.
because
We
there's
don't-
so many different types of photographers. If you're looking specifically at concert photographers, there's even so many different types there. There's monochrome, there's like action shots, there's people who only shoot film. Like you can, at least personally, and I don't want to speak for all photographers, is like I have my own style that's
Yeah.
taken a while to like get.
Develop, yeah.
And it depends on, where I'm shooting, who I'm shooting for sure. Like that influences it, and what type of camera I have, and what I've learned along the way from other people. But
Yeah.
the only thing that would influence me off like Instagram is just if I see something that just piques my interest.
Yeah.
So there are a list of photographers where I admire their style and the way they shoot, and I would probably maybe adapt that into my own, maybe, a specific type of editing. Like
Yeah.
I think I came across a carousel like a couple months ago, and I thought that was really cool. So I started doing carousels.
I've heard the word carousel like 8 times today.
Really? That's interesting.
We got to the Freddy rehearsal, Landon goes, doo-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee.
Oh my
I was
God.
like, bro, the world is a simulation. I
That's
apologize
funny.
to cut you off, but
Yeah,
I see
it's
what
all
you
good.
mean. And the thing I was thinking about from your point is like that there are so many different styles and stuff, but I like one of the photographers that I actually do pay attention to aside from friends and people that I know, like obviously you guys, Kian, Zebra something is another one that the one that shot that Good Kid show, right? Is Gunnar Stahl. Now he's fantastic. Like I love the photo styles, and it's always filmed, which is cool. But there isn't like. I was thinking about this photographer who was really popular during the Warped Tour days. Like it was like this short, bald guy who did like a lot of Warped Tour vlogs. And he always managed to grab a shot of the front men or front women leaning over, like the barricade and monitors and stuff, screaming into the crowd. And so the frame was underneath. Like, and so it's like you have the crowd, and then you have the singer, and it was like this. And he always managed to get a shot like underneath them.
Nice.
And I was like, oh, okay, like that's a style. You know
Or
what I
that's
mean?
a
Like,
signature,
that's a
maybe.
signature, I guess, is the word then, as opposed to a style.
So,
right? 'Cause
like-
style is a lot more broad.
Yeah. So to answer your questions, we don't look at mannerisms, right? Like Travis has mannerisms.
Yeah.
He's got a sound.
Mhm.
So in terms of putting it musically, we don't look at mannerisms. We look at sound.
Right.
'Cause every photographer almost looks the same in the pit. They're just looking for like an angle.
Yeah, but it depends on what type of photography. If you shoot huge venues,
Right.
maybe your signature is like getting giant wide crowd shots, or maybe you shoot the same artist who always leans over the stage into the audience, and so it might be easy to get a cool angle because you expect and you know that they're going to be doing that every time.
Yeah.
So you can do that. You know what I mean? Like it really depends on what you're given.
Yeah, that's true. That's the one thing that I
Right?
find about photography is that like you guys are like reliant on what's happening at the event.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You
And
know?
then it's
And what you have on your hands.
yes, it's one thing to get into a event.
Yeah.
It's another thing to get into a specific event, and then once you're there, it's like, okay, what you can do when you're there, and then afterwards, it's like, okay, what can I do when I edit, and then after that, it's like, okay, well now I have to get these photos seen,
Yeah.
and sometimes you can't even get the photos seen because it depends. Maybe the artist is too big, and you got in through a media outlet, or I don't know, maybe they were just not. They didn't really care that you were there to take photos, whatever. But there's just so many different pieces that like play into
Yes,
it.
specifically to the art. Like if you want the artist to see those,
Yeah.
more so than the people, right? Because there's also the opposite that like the artist might see the photos, but there's also the chances where like it happened to me. Born and Raised Fest, I shot 2 days. 2 days was what media got. I did all artists for those 2 days except for Billy Talent
Right.
because I was added to the bill way too late. They did not accept the new media.
Yeah, I
list.
remember you were saying you were having
Yeah.
like all these like you had like issue getting in and
Well, yeah, like, it's part of the industry, you know. Like that's not
Live Nation's like it's harder.
it's harder, right? Like
Yeah.
it's
There's
that's
a lot
part of the
more
industry,
pieces.
just
right?
move yours closer to.
Yeah.
Just a
So
bit.
like that whole thing about like there's mix-ups, there is late ads, there's really early ads, there's
it goes
there's-
through a lot of people.
Yeah,
as
for
well.
sure.
So
Anything
like
at
that's
that
not
level.
really an issue. It's like it's part of the industry. It's part of what you do.
Yeah.
You have to adapt and live with it.
You have to be
Absolutely.
flexible.
And to be flexible. But then the thing is when like you are in certain things like for media, for like myself, for that event specifically, like you cannot take pictures of that artist. And if you do, you're not supposed to, and you cannot publicate those pictures.
yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of red tape, a lot of
Yes.
rules.
So like there's for copyright
Legalities.
reasons, et cetera, et cetera.
Wow.
So there's a lot of people that even that happens like for example, a lot of people have this happen when there's a double headline show. Right? For whatever reason, like there could be a mix up at the door, they could be late, they could whatever happens, but if they don't get both headliners, none of those photos can be publicized.
Yeah, it's
Really?
true.
Yeah.
Or sometimes you can get approved for the opener, but not the headliner.
Not the headliner.
That's
well, yeah,
rare.
I
But it
remember
depends.
you were saying that you couldn't take photos of Born and raised was Billy Talent.
Billy Talent, yeah.
Yeah.
Because last minute list, they could not approve it.
Of course.
Right,
Yeah.
so like I just have to step back and
just watch.
watch,
I
enjoy
mean,
the
you still
show.
got to fucking watch. Billy
Yeah,
Talent.
of course.
I'm not complaining.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's part of like that's the other thing, right? Like you gotta get into the venue,
Yeah.
then you gotta stand out.
And then there's all the
Then
hurdles still.
Exactly.
'Cause
Then
there
you
are
gotta
other photographers there
Yeah.
as well who are all taking pictures of the exact same thing.
exactly.
Yeah.
And usually, sometimes there's two, sometimes you're by yourself.
Sometimes there's 14.
We were both at that
Remember
show.
the beaches?
Yeah. Shout out to
Oh
the
my
Beaches.
God,
Great
yeah.
band.
Great band, like kick-ass
Incredible
female
live show.
rock and roll band. But man, there were so
There
many
were so many
photographers in that
photographers in
pit.
that.
You feel like a little sardine crammed in there, and you're trying to get
At the
really
beach.
cool shots. Yeah, at the beaches, fish at the beach. Yeah, and it's hard because you don't want to elbow people at the same
Yeah.
time. I want to be like, move, get out of my way. But you can't.
No.
You have to have etiquette.
Of course.
I have a question for you.
For
Do
me?
you- yeah. The one girl, or like you said, it was like it was a lady, a girl that you asked at the Peach Pit show before you started. doing
Yeah.
this. Have you seen her in the pit after that?
No, actually.
Really?
No, I saw her at a show. I didn't know it was her because she had a mask on.
Okay.
But she was at the Danforth, like maybe 2 or 3 weeks later at a show that I was also shooting for. I think I was doing stuff for Embrace Presents.
Okay.
And I think I had I saw on her story, and I was like, oh my gosh, I was in the pit too for this. I didn't see you. And she was like, oh, okay, cool. And then that was really it. And I haven't really seen her around since.
I'm curious of who it is.
The mystery photographer.
No, I know her name. I can't remember what it is right now.
That's fine.
But I think I have her on Instagram. I don't know. She wasn't big on Instagram. And I don't know how often she shoots, too. Maybe it was just like a fluke that she was at the Peach Pit show. But
Well,
but yeah.
follow-up question
mm,
for you,
for me,
because Leo and I talk all the time.
of course.
But what was the moment that either got you interested in photography, or what was the picture that you took and then looked back and said, okay, I want to do this?
There's been a lot of really amazing moments for your second question, but originally, I've never taken a photography course like in high school or anything. And then in first year, I just went on Facebook Marketplace and I bought a used Nikon DSLR camera that was like $150
Right.
for the main purpose of me taking family photos at events, because I come from a very large Italian family and everyone would complain that they never had good photos.
Right.
But,
So
you
you're
know, like
solution-based.
non-iPhone photos.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. I was just like, you know what? I'll F around with it with my friends. And like, you know, people have cameras all the time.
Yeah, of
whatever.
course.
And then from there, I started just using it more.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure my aunt put me in touch with a lady that owns her own family photography studio where I'm
Right.
from in Burlington. And I shadowed her for a while. I didn't shoot anything for her. I just literally helped her at Christmas time for like minis. And I thought it was really cool.
What's a mini?
It's like
Good question.
Sorry, short-term things. Like Christmas miniature photo shoots for families.
Oh, like just like quick 1, 2.
Yeah, like 30, not even 30.
Like 15 minutes.
15 to 30 minutes.
Oh, kind of like what you do for graduation.
for
just
your
like-
Christmas
just
card,
something.
basically.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, when you said miniature, I was like miniature shit. I was
No.
like, that's rad. It's like, this is my
Little
tiny,
tiny
stove and my baby egg.
No, yeah. So anyways, I don't know. I thought it was cool. What I liked about it is it's also social, whereas
Yeah.
I do art as well. Like I paint and I draw, but it's very
And you draw on photos.
now
my
I'm starting to
favorite
do
thing.
that.
Just
Thank
sick.
you. Thank you very
Absolutely.
much. Now I'm starting to blend all of my interests together. But yeah, it's social, right? So you can
Yeah.
interact with the people, which is a little bit nerve-wracking but very challenging, and I like to be challenged creatively. So I don't know, I just got into it more, and then just started kind of following her around, and then I think I just started liking it more. And then concert photography was a complete like 360 for me.
Yeah.
I don't know what, like, it was just, I was at a concert. I was at, I think, the Peach Pit concert, and I was like, wow, I really missed live music.
Oh my God.
The feeling, and I hope other people can relate, but the feeling of when you're in the crowd and the vibration goes through your throat.
Yeah.
That
Camera has tapped out.
do I stop?
No.
Or I keep going? Yeah, that's like addicting, that feeling. I don't know. It's so awesome. And I was like, wow, I want to do everything I can to just like be in this moment as much as I can. And then I think as I kept going, everything kind of happened in the world, like signs, whatever, telling me, okay, keep going, you're doing good. But moments where, like, photo-wise, of me being like, okay, this one's insane, nothing stands out at all.
Really?
I can't.
Really?
No.
That's so wild.
No,
Like,
I don't remember. I don't remember anything. It's strictly the feeling of being in the pit and knowing I took a good shot.
have you ever just gone back and looked at like photos that you took, not even concert related, like just a family photo from like 2017 or 2018?
Yeah,
You're like, this was actually a really good photo.
Oh yeah, there's one.
And you don't get that feeling of like that stands out.
There's one I took at a wedding, my first wedding that I second shot for. It was last May, and I was really nervous about it because like weddings are really daunting and
Oh my God, yeah.
And I was with my friend who is 7 years older than me, and she is a wedding photographer. Her name's Jillian. She's insanely talented. She shoots mainly film. She's
Shout out
awesome.
Jillian.
Yeah, for sure. And I was like, oh my God, I don't think I can do this. Like, I was with the groomsmen. She was with the brides. I'm like, oh my God, like, I have to pose them. I have to basically be their boss for like a couple hours, make sure they're on time, tell them how to look. Like, these guys are older than me, you know? Like, it's a lot. And plus, they're paying a lot of money to get good photos.
Yeah,
and
weddings are
a lot. So there was one
pressure.
photo of the back of the bride's dress, and she was beautiful. But there was just one really cool one, and the way I edited it was really vintagey and artistic. Yeah. And I was really proud of that. And she reached out to me afterwards and said, I really loved your style, like the way you edited them. But I mean,
that's got to be one that sticks out.
it was it was like a one of the back of her dress. It was kind of like her walking, and her dress was bunched up, and I kind of made it look like a film photo, and I just thought that was cool. It's like a little detail.
Yeah.
Like little details is my thing.
I found a old CD from 2000, like 12 or 13, maybe even prior. It's a CD that I played on at when I was taking drum lessons at Arcadia. We went to a place called DNA Studios, and basically they just like, we had the summer program. You'd play in a band on every Saturday for like 3 hours.
That's
like
fun.
7 weeks or something like that. The whole summer. And then the 8th week you go and perform at Dave and Buster's. So
Dave and Buster's,
shout
don't
out
kill
to
me.
Dario Casulo
That is
from Arcadia.
hilarious.
This is one of my all-time favorite people on the planet. Anyways, I found there's 2 separate CDs, 2 separate bands. One was like a song that we made by a band called Fly on the Wall. And then another one was a cover of Little Black Submarines by the Black Keys. So there's a good metric of when that was. It was like, 2012.
Nice.
And I was listening to that, and I was like, I remember being so nervous the whole time. I think I was even like, just, super shy. And then I went and listened to the first like actual album that I recorded with this band called Deeply Faded, which was like a fucking metal band and shit. And I listened back to that, and it was at a time where like I got my own hotel in St. Catharines and brought the drums, and I was like, this is like all the recording session videos that I watch where the drummer's like got his camera on his dash cam, right? Or on his dashboard, and he's like driving, and he's like, we're going to the gig kind of thing, and then he arrives and sets it up and shit. And I listened back to that record, and I was like, for fucking 16 or 17, however old I was at the time, or maybe that was after Humber, maybe I was like 17 or 18, I was like, it's not that bad. It's not as bad as I thought it was at that time. Like, I remember that time it came out, and I was like, bro.
That's the artist's inner critic,
you know?
though, and I feel like anyone creative struggles with that.
Yeah.
And it's
But
hard to...
but I also think it's a 50-50 almost. Not like precisely, but
Right.
there's stuff that I scroll back or like I go to my archives and like look at stuff on hard drives and I'm like, God, this is dog shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I am dog shit. This picture is dog shit. Why on earth did I ever believe?
That into a TikTok audio. I am dog shit. This photo is dog shit.
Why did I ever believe this was ever good? And then there's the gems that you find.
And that's growth.
That's growth. 100%.
This is
Yes.
all
And then you find the
great
gems
audio.
that you're just like, okay, I love this photo and I'll forever love this photo. And I, you know.
Well, there was a photo that you had of like some, like it was like a dance concert, EDM concert or something, and it wasn't even the photo. It was like the saved
DJ?
frame of the GoPro video that you had.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, this is a good photo, and it's a photo from a video.
Yeah, it's a screenshot. It's not a screenshot. It's a still from a video.
Still,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, like that's if you watch our episode with Daniel Dorton and Alessandro Montella, you can listen to that story because it's long. But
it is long.
Long story short, I used to take stills from GoPro footage that I used to just walk around filming and then edit them and make them into photos. And then I found them on my old hard drive. So I was looking through them, the color versions, and I'm like, I love these photos.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I forever love these photos.
Yeah.
And then I re-edited them and recently posted them in like my signature black and white.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's good to have moments like that. Like, I got reminded by Facebook of this like Viking Death March cover that I did.
I love that cover.
And,
Dude, every time I'm like looking at your shit, I always go back to that video.
There's something about that video that's just so like, I don't know. It was like a time when I had no idea what I was doing. And I could sit there and critique the audio all day long, like the audio quality, you know, but it's like, I was just having a blast. Like I even put me and my first cousin, great guys, his name is Anthony. We saw Billy Talent at What the Fest.
Oh, wow.
Which was
shout out What the
time
Fest.
ago when they played that.
Vintage.
Right? Like,
Where's
we're talking
that?
5 or 6 years in Brantford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that they had these
Super
places.
far. And so, well, for you guys.
Not for me.
Yeah. When you're up in Tottenham, freaking everything's
Rip.
far. But yeah, like we did the cover like not too long after we saw that concert. And like once the video ends, it's like on my LG G2, I have a photo of the crowd.
Stop,
It
I'm
looks
dead.
it's such a bad photo. It looks like someone trying to draw like Van Gogh. Like it's
Oh,
so
that's cool
brutal.
though.
That doesn't look good at all.
No?
It looks like shit. This is like this, and then like I threw in a clip of, or maybe my cousin threw in a clip. I'm like playing, right, and then a stick just breaks and flies out, and then my cousin Anthony's like, "Oh, Ian," and I was like, "My stick broke," and I like watched that scene, and I was like, that was a really great moment where it was like it's too great for me to even try and critique it now, you know,
Nice.
like it was just like this is fucking good shit, you know.
Nice.
And it actually wasn't good. Like if you were to actually assess it, it isn't actually good.
When did you guys get your first phone?
That's a random question.
No, there's a point to this.
Grade 9. It was the LG G2.
I had
like
end
a
of grade 9.
Transformers.
I got my dad's old Blackberry.
Okay, so
Oh,
Blackberry and a G2.
LG G2. It was basically
grade
like
9 for you would have been 2013. 13.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was only because like I'm in high school now.
Yeah.
I'm taking a bus and shit. I never had it prior, but like I felt like I had a pocket Bible in my
There were
Catholic
months
school pants.
Yeah.
months that went by in grade 9 where I didn't have a phone and everyone had one, and that was such a bone of contention. Like it wasn't until the end, and I was begging my mom for a freaking phone. Begging you. Oh my god, I cannot sing. Yeah, well, how old were you?
Well, I was 10. I think.
Oh, that's really
No,
young.
but I'm a bit older than you guys.
Yeah, but you were also you had younger brothers,
I had younger
Right.
brothers,
I
parents
had
were
younger
working.
siblings.
but he was like the
but also I lived in a different country
That's
too.
true.
So there's a matter of security involved at the time. So it
Yeah.
was
of
like
course.
my mom basically be like, "You're gonna take this. You're not gonna use it for absolutely nothing."
Yeah.
And it was before the iPhone or
Yeah.
the Android.
What was it?
My first phone was a Nokia.
Thank God.
Nokia.
I'm so glad you said that.
Like the brick phones would have
Yeah.
the little like the blue one, like the neon
Beautiful.
blue with the interconnected.
I love
like-
that for you.
like buttons.
Yes.
Do you still own it?
No, I don't know where that is.
I still have my old
And
Blackberry.
then-
It's
I still
really
have my-
cute.
my
It's
and
like a
then
little
check
brick.
this. My mom got a Motorola Razr.
Oh my god.
Jesus.
And then
that's like a
she
side
like,
piece.
yeah, it's literally like fucking knife motions. And then she replaced it with a Motorola Pebble, which was
A
like
brick.
you literally like it's
Or
literally
was it the
like
slide ones that slid
no,
up?
not the slide ups. That was my high school phone.
Those were
the
so
coolest.
cool. I wanted one
Those
so
were
much.
so cool.
I know. You
But
know,
like the point of me doing this is like you guys had like obviously like the G2 and you said
I had
it was
touchscreen.
the,
She had a
it was like
BlackBerry.
an old BlackBerry
yeah
Pearl.
like a BlackBerry.
A Pearl.
Could you imagine if we still have those phones, right? Like, 'cause there wasn't a cloud back then. Nothing was backed up. Like
Yeah.
our phones now, we can go into our Apple account or Google account and find things from when they first started. When we first started using that as a method of backup, I would just love to have all of my old phones that had cameras. So from like probably
None
like
of mine had a camera.
grade
Oh,
9,
dude, yeah,
you know what I mean? Like
100%.
grade
Well,
9
we had a
to like
Blackberry Playbook that my parents used like to film me and my brother playing hockey. This Blackberry Playbook has the same like Dave and Buster's thing I was telling you about. Those 2 years, it has all the video there. Like I'm with you on that, man. I
would give
I wish the
a
internet
Well,
lot of
digital
money.
cameras.
Yeah.
Digital cameras were such a thing before phones had cameras.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right? So,
certainly.
like-
It's just like we had that. Like we had that at, like, you know, we had one, I don't remember what the brand was. Like we had, you know, like you had at your party, like one of those. Like
Yeah.
that blue one, right? Which is great, but like there's something about the device than having a camera that people just started taking more photos.
Of course.
Because it's like, oh, I'm using this device which also happens to have a camera.
Yeah.
As opposed to taking two separate devices now. And then you're like, oh, I don't want to break the camera. I don't want to damage it.
Right.
You know, like this BlackBerry Playbook has like golden footage on it. that
Yeah, I
to
would give a
retrieve.
lot of money to just try to recover that.
That is
Yeah.
so
Anything
funny.
that's in there. Like even when
Archive
screenshots
81.
started to be a thing before, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
you know, like early screenshots.
Oof.
You know what I mean? Like just like whatever's in there. I just want to
Yeah.
look at it. Like what's
That's
in
funny.
there.
I would love to see that. I mean, I can already remember some of the things. Like we would have pictures of my dad restoring his Healy. Me and my brother playing hockey. Playing like the fucking Dave and Buster's thing. There's, oh my God, Adam Amelidi
Yeah.
and Joe Cianfrani. Have you met Joe?
I don't think so. I met Adam. Shout out Adam.
Shout
You're a
out to
cool
Adam
dude, bro.
Amelidi. Very cool dude. Both Joe and Joe Cianfrani and Adam Amelidi are elementary school friends of mine.
Are they Italian?
Yes.
They have Italian last names.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is
but they're, like,
water
both Italian.
is water wet?
Yeah. But we had like a little band, like 3-piece. So I was on drums,
Cute.
and Joe was like beatbox / poet / rapper / singer, and then Adam was playing guitar. And I
So you had
remember
like
it's
like
so,
a bootleg La Dispute here.
bro, like a fucking
I think I
saw you
in my dreams.
bootleg.
Darling.
Yeah, I guess you could say La Dispute would be the best one, or like only Stockholm Interlude from Blink-182, or the Fallen Interlude is the
Fallen.
one. But I remember we had this song that we made called "We Got It All," and it was like dang, 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 and then like the lyrics were like "We got it all," the beat, the sound, the song. Yeah,
Do that
we got
again,
it all. And
please.
it was like damn.
Who wrote it? Who wrote it?
Adam wrote the guitar melody, and then I started laying the groove down, and then Joe was like doing this, you know,
And he did the words?
and he's like, "We got it all."
That
the
is so
beat,
good.
The sound, the song. Yeah, we got it all, and it was like,
was that a moment where you were like, yeah?
I was
like
like,
how we were talking
We're
about
so
before?
I was like,
Cool.
This is a moment where like,
somebody
yeah.
fucking call Usher right now. Put this shit on YouTube.
Yeah, that's
And
hilarious.
I remember the video has me like, okay, you guys got to do this, and I was already like band coordinator. I was like, you got to like play this note and then go over there and shit. And we're
Wait,
like,
you're-
okay, we're gonna fucking. We tried to like write it out.
Sorry,
It's so
I don't know
brutal.
why my brain does this. You said band coordinator, and I thought of those dudes that go like, da, 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 da,
Yeah,
da,
like
da,
the guys,
you know,
that
like
just,
in the big,
leading the
like,
band with the big
and, like,
you
Q-tip.
mean a conductor?
yes.
Well,
A
no,
coordinator
hold on.
with
I'm
the
looking at
thing
the
in-
marching
But like the
band.
marching band conductor.
They
not-
have
has the
those?
big,
Yes.
He has the big fucking Q-tip. And he's like,
Yeah, yeah. Well, no, those.
How
are
do you
like
get into
dancers.
that? I wonder.
But like,
I
no,
would love
like,
to interview
if you
one.
watch like
you gotta
college,
talk to,
like
the drum line.
if you watch like college football, like half times
yeah.
in like
Okay.
big universities in the States,
yeah,
they have like a 50, 60 people marching band that
bands
go
are-
into the field.
the U.S. is literally the only country that actually has a big, like, tenured band like that you could actually have a career.
Because they have the
in.
numbers for it. That's
Yeah,
why.
It's just football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Football's
Like,
a
it only
huge
exists
culture
because of
there.
football.
Frats are a huge
You don't
culture
have
there.
fucking hockey bands,
Sororities.
you know,
No.
in the intermission following the Zamboni, like dancing and shit. Like it's only football.
Can you
and it's like-
imagine?
and these
Real
dudes, like, they
fucking
get
scene.
like sometimes they're in like obviously the college stadiums are so big sometimes. Like
Oh yeah, some of them are massive.
University of Michigan Ann Arbor, I think it fits like 250.
Can you imagine York
Jesus.
University? Do they even have a football field?
I don't even think they do
I don't know.
sports.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I've
was gonna
never
say
heard of York
Ryerson
doing
or not
sports.
Ryerson.
Yeah.
Sorry, TMU.
Humber is the only school that comes to mind when I think of sports. Besides like,
Do they
Brock
have a
or like-
football field?
Or like the other
Humber
ones.
has a football and a soccer team.
Wait,
and
how would that
hockey
look
and
with like a
baseball.
full ass band and like?
It would be like a quintet playing.
That's
like
hilarious.
R&B and jazz.
But yeah, we're talking about like they will have like those industrial rolling ladders, like the
Yeah.
ones you find at warehouses, and they will go on top of it and direct the band
Yeah.
from like
That's hype.
10
Well,
feet
what's
high.
the movie Drumline? The dude that dated Mariah Carey. That
Nick Cannon?
Nick Cannon.
Nick Cannon, yeah, Nick Cannon.
Why do I know that?
Yeah, because then Eminem dissed him so good. In, oh my god!
I just
The
remember,
warning
wasn't he a
shot, The
host?
warning shot is what it was called.
Wasn't he a host for like
He is
a
the host
TV
for Wild
show?
and Out.
He's the host for Wild and Out. And
No,
every
no.
guest-
There
every
was
single
another.
guest takes
Was
a
it
shot at
X
him.
Factor? He was a host for?
I hope not.
No,
one?
he was.
X Factor.
No, I don't remember.
I can't
hope
remember,
not.
but he was definitely. I don't remember. It was something.
His best right now is Wild and Out.
Oh yeah.
What's that?
It's
You ever seen Wild and Out?
No.
Wow. It's
Am I
like
being
You
judged?
have homework now.
100% you're being judged.
That's from the moment you sat into this couch, you've been judged.
Dude, I have like this PDF right now
Wow.
in my brain that's just running.
It's like list I'm
Just
gonna
judging.
that's
I'm just
gonna
kidding.
come up later.
Yeah.
Actually, you know, I
Collateral.
do have a question for both of you because I feel like
Certainly.
you've been asking me questions, and I understand I'm the guest on you.
I was gonna say, I'm like,
yes,
I don't know if you
yes.
see the guy right there, but that's kind of my job. If I don't
Okay.
do that, then this is
You're
a really
cool,
shitty
yes.
show.
So I feel like I mainly explained how we met from my perspective, but I would love to hear from your perspectives. Like,
Well, you guys had more time on tape than I did because I was playing and performing. So I'll
yes,
let you
but
go
it was
first.
after that we kind of talked.
Yeah, we had a little.
Yeah,
we had a
'cause-
soiree.
Yes, soiree. You guys got okay. You go.
No, we had more than a soiree.
'Cause we were- I
went to fucking Pat's home.
Yeah, we're at Pat's after.
Okay,
We had a
so
whole ting, but
I'll let
go
you
first.
guys do it because I'm gonna just
Um,
listen.
Well, from what I remember, like, I guess Ochre was about to go on. You got there like just before they started.
Mhm.
And Jacob Graves, shout out to Jacob Graves.
Yes.
Grace Visuals, check him out.
Promoted on Grace Visuals.
That was good.
That was so good.
He's like, oh, yo, there's another photographer coming. Just
Oh,
so
he
you know.
told you,
Yeah,
okay.
he told me. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I don't really get bothered.
Yeah.
And I don't know anybody really that at least publicly gets bothered by it. But I'm not that type of person.
Yeah, of
Some
course.
people do. Some people don't. You know, they see it as competition. They see it as, oh, somebody's in the way, whatever it is.
Right.
I'm pretty chill. Like, I don't mind. And then, you know, I thought you probably did this before. Usually Jacob has been in the industry for quite a while.
Yeah.
with
Yeah, I
Opus,
had
right?
no clue.
Right? So, like, I thought it was okay. Like, she probably, like, at least, like, will probably... Because usually what we do now is, like, like something cordial. It's like, oh, hey, I'm also here. Like, just tap me on the shoulder if I'm in your way. Or, like,
Gotcha.
if I'm
Yeah,
in
yeah,
front of you.
you let each other.
It's
let each
very,
other
like,
know.
it's kind of like a unwritten rule. It's like, you know, we just kind of wave at each other. Or say
Yeah.
hi to each other if we don't know each other. And then be like, hey, just tap me if I'm in the way.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, you approached and you were like, oh, like, hi. I was like, oh, I'm Joanna. I'm like, oh, cool. Hi, my name's Leo. Nice to meet you. They said, yes, my first show. I'm like, oh, shit.
Great.
And at the time, it's like, you know, it was what?
April.
April.
So it was April.
Sorry.
22nd,
Yeah.
2022.
So, 2022. So, like, officially, a lot of people, I don't think know this, but officially I started shooting bands September 25th, 2021.
So you had a couple months on me.
Basically,
Yeah.
but it hasn't even been a year for me. It's almost a year.
Oh, we have to celebrate when it's been a year.
I think so.
Time.
Time,
But
yeah.
also,
Is
live
fake.
music
So I
has
had,
not
like,
been
you know, it's
around
like
for a
she-
while.
Like, here comes Joanna,
Yeah.
fucking firecracker, asking me these questions, and I'm like, I think I know how to answer them.
Yeah.
You know
well,
what I mean?
you seemed like you knew the answers to them.
I tried.
He's
you know,
a good liar. No, I'm just fucking around.
like, bitch, I could be.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And then the funny, like, what cracked me up was, and you're still like this, is oh, like you might want to flash because it's dark in here.
Yeah.
And then you're just like, no, I have mirrorless. I'm
Yeah.
like, fuck you.
I don't understand
Yeah.
what that means.
Mirrorless is just better in low light.
Mm-hmm.
So it
Oh.
captures colors better. It's less grainy. You can
Specifically Sony mirrorless.
yeah, specifically Sony mirrorless.
Yeah.
Is there like a
Best
whole
thing I ever did was
like, you know how guitarists are like, fuck Fender, I'm with Gibson.
it's
Fuck
all
It's
personal
honestly-
preference.
Honestly, it's all personal preference, and I have no hate.
But are people like it like how they are with guitars?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like you can't
the
get a
beef-
country sound unless it's a Fender Tele.
People are biased
or some
towards
shit.
where they started. A lot of
Yeah.
people, if they started with Canon, they'll keep growing with Canon. Like I don't know a lot of people that have switched.
Yeah.
I switched, but I only switched because I only had one shitty little Nikon DSLR. I didn't put a lot of money into my gear, and
Right.
so it wasn't a loss financially if I had switched to a completely different, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
a lot of
But
people.
does it create clique?
Yes, 100%.
I
Well, like
guess.
the beef in the camera
there's
world,
no
I think,
like it's just
it's.
preference.
I think like the people that bicker about it the most are Canon versus Nikon.
Yeah.
Canon and Nikon users go at each other.
Is it that Sony is just like
Sony is just
Better?
there
On
and
a
kinda be
different
like,
level.
Hey,
Son-
we're here
yeah.
and we're gonna take all of like 50% of your users to us.
Sony is
oh, so they're
leading.
just like,
Like-
the best?
Like,
No, well, they're
like,
leading
Sony
in-
walked in with a fucking limp because their balls were so big.
Nice.
You know what I mean? Like they did like digital cameras before, but nothing
Yeah.
of high performance. And all of
No.
a sudden, they come in with high performance.
They are leader in mirrorless, but at this point, like all of those companies, Nikon has mirrorless, Canon has mirrorless. So,
Yeah.
but they also have solid DSLR cameras. But if you're just looking at mirrorless, Sony
Sony's
wins.
at the top.
Now what about brands like Lumix?
Lumix is great
Panasonic.
for video.
Panasonic.
It's great for video. It's also great mirrorless as well, and so is Fuji. And those are
Fuji's
really
another one, yeah.
Yeah, I would say for
Are there like mom and pop shop type camera? Because
a
like there's, like,
Minolta. I don't
No,
know.
like it. So
Because
okay,
there's like
so-
guitar brands or
Yeah,
drum manufacturers.
No, there's
you
no
know?
custom. I don't.
Well, you
not
have
that I know
film.
of,
Film
There's no-
is-
Because I would think film would be
There's-
the one that
there's
would.
Yeah,
different
no,
types
there's
of
different
film.
types of film, and there's definitely mom and pop films. Like there's people that either get some sort of film from like a manufacturer.
But are they making the film or are they making the camera?
They're making the film.
Okay.
Not the
Are
camera.
there?
Yeah.
So there's only like
So
industry giants that are manufacturing cameras.
for them, yes.
see.
Not particularly like like Canon also does printers and
Yeah,
electronics.
no,
right?
no, like
so
Yamaha
does
does
Sony,
motorcycles
yeah.
and keyboards.
so-
but
so
I mean,
does
like,
Sony,
is
so
there
does
like
Nikon, right?
YC drums?
No,
Is there like a YC
like-
camera?
No, not really. The closest thing you would probably get is like the more exclusive or more high-end camera houses. Kind of like a watch brand. Like, for example, a Canon and Nikon is like Rolex versus Omega in like the watch world, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows what a Rolex is. Everybody knows what an Omega is.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
And then you have Leica, which is like your like APs or like your highly expensive, highly exclusive watches, like the ones that like rappers flaunt on music videos, right?
True.
It doesn't. It's not because it's just cloudy, but it's also because they're extremely good cameras for the most part,
Yeah.
right? But they're expensive. Like a Leica digital camera
Is
goes
Leica
from
German?
yes. So they
I
go
remember
from anywhere
Lyconics, we
between
used
like
those.
$6,000
Yeah.
to $25,000.
And they're old, aren't they?
Like they started making they did optics before, so like telescopes, binoculars, and they still do.
When I was working that electronics restoration job, we had a Leica camera in an old, like black but like beaten up leather bag, like leather case.
Yeah, that's probably worth a lot
Wow.
of money.
Yeah,
A lot
I
of money.
remember that.
Who has it now?
Somebody whose house got burnt down.
Damn.
Essentially.
Yeah.
But this is why he knows all with photography. I don't know why you
He
were
is
ever
just
Just a
like.
nerd, bro.
He is big
What
brain.
I mean is, honestly, since knowing you, Leo, I've learned so much.
Oh, thank you.
You're very welcome, and that's an understatement.
That is an
In
understatement.
every way.
Yeah.
Not just photography as
appreciate
well.
that.
He's a smart guy over here.
He is a
man.
smart guy over here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then, like there's the other brands like Hasselblad, which started being like Roselli. Hasselblad still makes cameras. They still make very good medium format cameras, which is more of like super high end because Fuji, for example, also makes medium format cameras, which are like medium format.
Fujifilm.
Huh?
Fuji? Where they from?
Fujifilm. They're
Is that-
Japan. They're Japanese.
But they're not a part of like Lumix is basically Panasonic. Like Fuji's like their own.
Fujifilm is Fujifilm.
Like,
it's a film house. It started making
Right.
film, Fujifilm, and then they got into cameras.
Yeah, which is why, in my opinion, Fuji coloring is gorgeous. Like,
Yes.
just even their raws are like
they somehow
beautiful.
managed to.
if you do
emulate-
portraiture and you want like a really nice mirrorless, like barely have to do any presetting, that's your way.
The two
You guys
film-
kind of sound like butchers when you talk about pictures.
probably. Yeah, we
Butchers.
do.
You know when butchers are talking about, or like chefs, or
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
it's
very
our
much
own
like-
language. It definitely
Yeah.
is.
Musicians have it, but musicians always kind of come from a place of like a science or math. Like the formula is this. The chord progression is like the 1, the 6,
Yeah.
the 4, flat 7.
But
whatever.
it's all just equipment is what
Yeah.
we're talking about.
Oh, certainly.
Yeah. Or
But you're
equipment
also
or, like-
talking about like, especially with film. Like when I hear you talk about film,
He knows
it
more.
very
Yeah,
much
he knows.
sounds like you're like, you know, you're a chef and you're talking about prepping a meal, like a turkey or
Huh.
a fucking potato or some
That's
shit.
interesting.
They're like, I got to do this and I have to set it this way, and if I use, like, I saw a video of this woman was explaining how to make different types of cookies. This much egg white, this little egg white, this much flour. This
I
much
guess it's like
sugar.
ingredients.
And it's
It is,
very
yeah.
much like, oh, you know,
Our
if you
settings
do
are-
this,
Yeah,
this
I was
and,
gonna say.
and then I hear you guys talking about it, I'm like, just swap out the variable. I need to prep this raw to get this color or this thing, and that's how it's presented in this way. Or, you know, like the Stranger Things guy putting it in fucking water and shit. and
No,
it's like, this
you're
is-
actually so
you know,
right.
Like you
It
turn up,
sounds so
turn up
much-
your ISO,
Okay,
lower
like-
your f
sounds
stop,
so
Like,
much
perfect
like
example,
aperture,
Whenever you shoot like super high, like frequency, like what's it called?
like my high
Like
shutters.
continuous, like super high,
Yeah,
like high
yeah.
plus.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't know what your camera is, but you can go as fast as like 30 frames per second.
Yeah.
That's 30 photographs per second,
Yeah.
right? That's a lot of pictures per second.
Yeah, absolutely.
The problem is when your shutter goes that fast, light doesn't have enough time to get in. Like light is obviously the fastest thing we know, like in
Yeah.
terms of like travel, right? But sometimes your sensitivity on your sensor is not enough to capture the light that's coming in. So you could do two things. You can lower your aperture, which is open up your like lens, so more light can come in through the lens. But that's gonna make your picture soft.
Yeah.
Like they're gonna not be sharp if you don't catch them properly, right?
Right.
So what most people do is that they amp the sensitivity up.
ISO.
Yeah, your ISO. The thing is that one that doesn't do sports or high frequency things like that wouldn't know that. I will be worried about getting grain on your shots. But when your shutter is going that fast, the sensor doesn't have enough time to capture the light that blows out those pixels.
Right.
So you can have like 10,000 ISO, which is a lot, 20,000 ISO, 15,000 ISO. If you take one photo, just a click, it'll be super grainy. But if you're going that fast, it's not grainy at all because the pixels cannot capture the light as fast
To
as
make
the
it
shutter
grainy.
moves.
Yep.
So what about
it's like
those,
basically it's like you take away the sugar, add some salt.
Yeah.
I was waiting
and
for
then,
this.
And then for balance,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, so if it's a little too salty, then like let's put a base in
yeah.
Yeah.
and balance it out. It's a
Balance it
game of
out.
balance. I've never thought about that until that.
That is really
Yeah.
cool.
Well, it's funny because it's like I was watching this video like earlier today. I was like, teach me how to make some fucking cookies, bro.
Yeah.
And then it's just the way she was describing everything, and I was listening to her speak, and I was like, this is so much more from a place of like how someone would mix paint. Like you got it like balance,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Whereas when musicians are explaining, this is how I made this song.
Well,
this is how
it's
I
starting from
produced."
scratch is more musician. With us, it's like we're working with what we have.
Yeah, and this is the thing.
Yeah.
Like a lot of musicians, like Wolf was showing me. Shout out to fucking Wolf, who's going to be doing some awesome stuff with Sharp 4 next year. But he was showing me music of a band that he's recorded and produced, and he was talking about like, I only have this type of delay, this type of EQ, so I and what's typically used for drums, I've now thrown it on the mids of like the guitar.
Huh.
You know, and it's very much like, okay, I'm trying to achieve this specific outcome, and I need to readapt and rewrite the formula to get this outcome with, you know, what's at hand. There's a little bit of similarity to it, but it's just how, like, pros of their trade, you know, elaborate on what they're doing.
Yeah. The
one
way
is a lot more, like, sounds scientific. The other one is a lot more sounds, like you said, like, based on what you have.
Well,
kind
if
of
I'm
thing.
looking at like both, like visual, you
Mhm.
know, auditory,
Yeah.
and then yours is more like and beginning, middle, end. Like
Right.
you're trying to create something. Where us, it's like constantly changing.
Yeah.
Constantly changing. Like it's you move your ISO or your shutter or whatever for one like photo and then on to the next because
Yeah.
lighting is constantly changing and we have to adapt to like our setting. Where with you, it's like you sit, you create, you do like you pull from whatever and then
Yeah.
like you have it.
When you create, you listen to it, and you're like, now I like imagine if you were writing a speech or like a screenplay.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I know what the actual sentence is going to be to give you what this idea is, and now I'm going to reread this sentence and then determine how I want it to be delivered. Like, am I gonna like imagine you had someone from like what's that movie with Christian Bale? American Psycho.
Batman.
No, I meant American Psycho. Batman. Right. Batman. But like, imagine he's like a psychotic killer or whatever, right? Imagine you write a screenplay where he goes and murders somebody, and it's like, how do you want to describe this sentence? Like, I murdered this man, because it can be told in a whole bunch of different ways that give a whole bunch of different feelings. Like, if he just says it monotone, he's gonna come across as a like sociopath. But if he says it while he's crying, he's going to be like, he's got problems, but now he's having this moment of remorse.
Mm-hmm.
If he says it in such an aggressive and angry way, it's almost like he's not done. And musicians will go and like I'll, practice a groove. And then it's like, okay, great. Like I have the main idea, but now really, how do I want to deliver this?
Yeah.
Do I want it to be sloppy like Ringo, like in a good sloppy, do I want it to be really big? Like John Bonham? Do I want it to sound smaller? Like, I'm drumming for Phoebe Bridgers or something. Like, you can take that and then you can essentially redress it and just like, how do I want this to sound? How do I want it to look like?
feel like
This is the same thing with photo editing. It's similar.
I think the only time that in photography is a thing where you make it is when you're in studio. When
Right.
you
it's
have
a controlled environment.
Yeah.
In the industry we work in, we don't get to choose.
No,
Right? We
You're
don't get to
very
choose
much
what
like-
we get.
You
You
get a
have
little
two
bit like you can
ingredients.
move
Yeah.
around your angles
me
and your
kind of.
Then
lighting,
there's
but
the
like
whole other
they're
s-
doing
yeah.
what they're doing. You can't tell them, "Hey, stop, go that way." Like,
Yeah.
can you
Can you
face
just
me
run
more?
that chorus back?
Can
but
you just do that
can we get
again?
some more facial
Yeah.
expression, please? You guys are looking pretty fucking boring right now.
Yeah, can you like
Just
jump
do better.
around a bit?
It's like a band at history. They're like, who the fuck is this person?
Yeah, literally. No, I will say though that as I've been doing this longer, I never related myself to people like musicians or anything like that,
Right.
but there are a lot of similarities.
Certainly.
I will say that you as a musician and as a friend, very like-minded. Very just as like-minded as Leo is, but in different ways.
Yes.
And you're creative, hardworking, and knowledgeable. And base level, most people I've met are.
Bro, you're turning me into a cherry tomato right now.
But I'm just saying,
Damn.
like, it's my whole life, or until I started really doing this, even in
Yeah.
school. I went to school for creative industries. Different. I never really like found people that I like jived with,
Right.
but doing this, it's been so easy. They're everywhere.
Music is a
People are
universal language.
entrepreneurial.
think
They
it's honestly
are.
I hate to be a little bit cocky, a little bit biased, but I think it is the most universal language.
I
It
think
is.
so,
I was talking to one of my
I agree.
students' parents about it. Like, no, I wasn't talking to a parent. I was talking to my boss here at Degazon. 13th shout out to Degazon on this podcast.
Nice.
It's some
Number
crazy
13.
number. But I was talking to my boss, and he was talking about how, like, he has 2 sons and a younger daughter, and they've all done sports.
Mhm.
And, they're at the time now where they're like, I'm going to focus on my career and kind of stuff. We never really, like, could have made it, never really had the interest. I could be describing them incorrectly, but from what I recall, right, it's like great at sports, but doesn't really want it to be the career. But one thing that always stuck with them was music.
Mhm.
And we were asking, why is that? And I was thinking about, and I kind of think about that often, because I came from the sports world first, from Taekwondo and hockey, playing like AEAA for Caledon, really before music seemed to be anything legit. And then I took a look at like art, like trying to draw. And it's like, on one hand, the sports world, the business world, any trade is very robust and has depth of knowledge, and certainly has, like, it can be exciting at times, but it's almost too rudimentary. Then you can take visual art, which sometimes can be too open-ended, where your whole planet is no man's land. It's like the ocean land in Interstellar.
That's
like
very.
there is no land.
That
you
is
know?
very accurate.
And then music is just like when the
but
earth
there's
was
something
just
for
one big
everyone
land.
with this.
That's
like
the thing. And there's such an like music is one of the best things to like adequately relay an emotion
Express.
without having to say the words. You know,
Yeah.
like
I agree.
listen. One of my favorite things to do is just listen to like old Spanish music. Like I mean, like 1940s Spanish music, or
very
like
cool.
you know, conversation. What are they called? In the 60s and 70s, they used to like dig an extra floor in their living room. So there was the main floor of the living room, then one step, and it was like
Yeah.
a conversation square that they used to have.
That's
like,
really
old
cool.
homes
I
like
didn't
that.
know that.
So it's a
Yeah.
high end thing. It's not like you know.
Yeah, that's
it's
like
not a middle class
mid-century
thing.
modern like living room
Yeah.
dance that were down.
And I just through the algorithm late at night found like old Brazilian homes of rich and famous people that were
Yes.
living in Brazil that had those pieces, and then I was listening to music that was from that time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like I don't speak a lick of Portuguese. I can't even pick up some of the words that are emulant of Spanish, but I know that the woman singing with this nylon string guitar is singing from a place of man, like this man that I'm in love with is so pure, and it's like I don't even know the guy, and I'm like,
Do you know what it is
caress me,
too?
you know what I
and
mean?
it's like, I don't know anything about like playing or
Mm.
like I can't read notes or whatever. But at very base, human beings like we all feel,
yes,
and music is universal in that way, where it's like a platform that people can express and feel
Yeah.
in the same way. It doesn't matter what language you speak, what craft you do,
absolutely.
and like I think that's what it is.
And there's so much of that because it's like you could literally be from anywhere. Like last night I was at a relative's house. We were listening to like an Ecuadorian rock band, something like that.
Cool.
Name.
Like
Random,
I don't
but cool.
remember. I'll ask, but my
Please
Tio
do.
will know. It was like I think it was Ecuadorian, but it was like you know the 2008 like Nickelback era
Oh my
style
God!
Yeah.
music video
Stop.
Yeah.
where they're in like a beat up home for some reason, but
Yeah.
they're dressed so nicely, and then the girl is just like asleep, and he's like, "Baby, please love
Oh
me."
my
She's
God!
like, She's
Stop.
like, "Get out of my
That's
house,"
so
and I'm like, "Dude, that's a
funny.
red flag." You know what I mean? Like her house is terrible. Like she doesn't clean at all. It's dirty. You know, but it's like I'm seeing that, and I don't understand this thing that he's saying, and it's kind of cheesy. But then I'm just sitting there and I'm watching it, and I'm like,
What is he saying?
he was talking about how he wants her, like, at least the way I received it, and I'm using like emotions as the form of communication because I don't speak the language. And it like the video feels
He wants
as
to
if
protect
he's like,
her, maybe.
No, he's like trying to get her to be like his, you know, like he wants
weird way
they
of
wanna
doing
be
that.
together, but she's like, leave me alone. Like, you know, when people love to put up walls and like they want their space and shit.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But it's really like I'm gonna do this so that you fight for me so that I feel
Yeah,
wanted.
yeah, yeah.
Like that's what the song felt like,
All
you
right.
know? And it was really weird.
Classic Latino music video.
Are you guys more of like melodic listeners, or would you say you
Yo, it
focus
depends
more
on the
on
day.
like the lyrics?
It depends on the day, man. Like
No.
in the
Ah.
same night, we were listening to like a lot of Spanish music, and then my uncle put on Rolling Stones, like that circus gig that they did, like back
yeah.
in '72.
Yeah.
Hype.
And
That's
I was like,
so cool.
I feel like I want to move like I'm a robot that's short circuiting. Like I just want to be like,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I
You know
feel
what I
like
mean? Just
also
doing
like
the shit,
I
you
feel
know?
like the genres of music that are native also to certain regions of the world also they pick their personality very well.
yeah,
Not in sound specifically because I'm more of a musical answering your question. But there's like for me it's like
So more melodic.
I'm more melodic.
I gotcha.
But I really like the bottom end of things. I like the drums, the
Yeah.
bass, and like low end guitars.
for me,
Well,
it's
that's
just
that's melodic is the sound.
Yeah.
Or do you-
the drums would be more like in the sense of
Rhythmic.
rhythmic. Like,
Yeah.
Ah, rhythmic.
You know how
Gotcha.
people will just listen to 6 hours of reggaeton,
yeah.
Yeah.
and you're
But
like,
it's the same.
it's the same rhythm. It's because it's almost like their body's rhythmic like tempo or frequency loop is like in that
Yeah.
style.
Yeah.
You like when punk guys listen to the big cat little cat, like big cat little cat, do that, do that, do that. You know what I mean? It's like that's where my body is sitting right now, and
Cool.
there's something about this.
Yeah.
Like you have djembe, you have like clave rhythms, you have bossa nova. Like there's so many
Mm-hmm.
rhythms that you could look at it in a melodic lens, but there's something about the rhythm that just the vibration and the space between each note hits how your body is like functioning.
Yeah.
Like the revolution it takes your body to pump blood throughout the whole, organism. Like that's how your body's moving at that tempo.
It's cool because like we're all wired differently.
Yeah, and this is where that what personality thing comes on.
Yeah.
For example, there's you could call it a genre. Salsa, everybody knows salsa music, right?
Yeah.
But like
Great with Tostitos, dude. Fuck.
oh yeah, tomatoes. Yeah.
Don't kill me.
Tomatoes.
Oh, can we start associating genres of music to food?
We could, but like for example,
Continue.
salsa.
Halsey is
Salsa.
cheese whiz.
There's this specific style of salsa called salsa brava,
Okay.
which is your typical like basically not your like dance floor salsa, but it's like the people's salsa. Like people like Ruben Blades, which a lot of people know, like or Hector Lavoe or like Willie Colon. Those are very prominent
Right.
like musicians in the genre.
Yeah.
And it's usually from like starting maybe in the 60s, ending in the 80s, like kind of that time frame for the
Great
most of
era.
it.
Yeah.
And then obviously the genre changes as it goes, kind of like
it
every
gets a little
progression.
bit more 808-y.
Yeah. But the funny thing about the genre is that rhythmically, like it's dance. Like you dance to that music, right?
Yeah.
You listen to it, you dance. But the lyrics are mostly about social, political, or personal issues.
Isn't
They're
that great
not-
when they do that?
They're not
And they
happy
embed
songs.
that in there?
There are no happy songs. Not that there isn't any.
Yeah.
There's hopeful songs, but like some
It's
of
about
them,
real
like
shit.
the more like funny enough for me is like the more popular ones are not happy songs.
Interesting.
There's a song called Pedro Navaja, which means like in our language it just means Pedro blade. Like Navaja is a blade.
Right.
It talks about like a criminal,
Yeah.
how he like goes and like tries robbing a lady.
Yeah.
In a synopsis, tries robbing a lady, and this lady pulls out a gun and kills him in the middle of New York.
Whoa.
Damn, she bad.
And then, but this is the lyrics of the song, and people dance to this and sing it like it's nothing.
Maybe they don't even realize it's
No, but it's not
thing
that.
that I find
But it's not that they don't realize it. People do
they know
realize.
it.
Ah.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
Um,
it's like sometimes, like, if you have someone that you're hanging out with, or your relative, you're at home or whatever, and someone is just like humming the lyrics to Stan and hasn't heard that song in like a couple days or whatever, they're just like, tears don't go. I'm like, are you doing okay?
Yeah.
You know, because that's a very fucking real song.
Yeah.
But then there's times where you listen to a song like A Little Piece of Heaven from
Yeah.
Avenged Sevenfold, which is a fucking crazy story.
It's
a fucked up story.
honestly fucked up.
It's so
Like,
Wait,
fucked up.
which song?
A
Little Piece of Heaven.
by Avenged Sevenfold.
Da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
Really fucked up song.
Why don't I know this?
I mean, it's like okay, like we'll complain in
fucked
the
up.
car on the way back.
Okay, we'll play it in the
but
car.
it's like, yeah, but it's like that tune is fictional. Hopefully, it's
Hopefully.
not like it's Vermilion by Slipknot, which is like a real thing.
thing.
Or Stan, I think, is real. I don't really know the history of it too well. But people will sing that,
Yeah.
and it's like sometimes it's about a real shit,
Yeah.
and you sing it like this fucking
See,
melody is that
but,
good.
But that's
you
the
know?
personality aspect.
Yeah.
Because Latinos, I think a lot of Latinos can relate. Our countries, at least politically, is always a turmoil, or has historically been a turmoil.
You guys love to argue.
Not only that, but like we know like
Just
shit's
guys.
fucked up, like wherever
Yeah,
we're
no,
from.
no, it's not like
and
it's
we
not like you're
know it,
undermining
and like
the
it's
scenario.
very conscious in our minds.
Mhm.
But a lot of Latinos is like, well, these are the world's problems. We gotta smile through it. We gotta dance through it. And the irony that like
There's a lot of
But it's
there's a
also-
lot of
Sure.
danceable and enjoyable music that has the most like politically or socially charged lyrics to it.
That's really
Yeah.
It's
cool.
literally the paradox of like
that makes me think of like
The world.
Rage
The
Against
world.
the
The
Machine.
world, yes.
That immediately makes me think of like Rage Against the Machine.
I
where
love
it's like
Rage Against the
You,
Machine.
the dude's singing about some real fucking shit, you know, that's like there's all these inadequacies in the world, politically speaking, socio-politically speaking, yet we're going to write riffs that will destroy an arena, like make the whole structure crumble. You know, like they're a band, like I think, I don't remember what show I was listening to, but they were talking about how Rage Against the Machine was playing somewhere in Latin America or Europe or
Argentina
maybe
or
even
Brazil,
maybe
probably.
even the U.S. somewhere, not Canada, but somewhere outside of where we are. And the national or city police of whatever night, you know, that city, were basically saying like you can't play like Bulls on Parade and shit, guerrilla radio and all that stuff until like an hour into your set, because the police need to be able to like cover the ground once the event has started.
Yep.
To make sure that shit doesn't get too fucking out of hand.
Wow.
Because they just have some riffs that get people like fucking crazy.
Also, I encourage
Wow.
this to anybody that loves watching concert videos. Just type your favorite band or if they're big enough or performer, and just put Argentina next to it or Brazil next to it.
Or Brazil. Yeah, Buenos
You will
Aires,
have
right beside
the
it.
time. You will have the time of your life watching
Turnstile.
the crowd.
That triangular venue that they played in Argentina, I saw it on their Instagram.
It doesn't. Yeah.
Oh my!
It doesn't even have to be like hard. It doesn't have to be turnstile. Like
No, it doesn't though.
I watched a Coldplay
Yeah.
concert.
Coldplay?
Listen,
Do you imagine like Christina Perri?
I watched a Coldplay
No,
concert.
it's a song Yellow.
Like a
or
video.
like-
No, like no. Like
Everyone's-
it gives you the chills.
Yeah.
Like Chris Martin starts singing Yellow, and all you hear is the crowd.
Well, this is the
Wow.
thing that we
Decibels.
talked
That
about
is
before.
crazy.
Decibels above the
band.
speakers, and they have to stop. Like they're crying because they're so overwhelmed.
This is the thing that I wish, and it's a I don't even say a generational or cultural thing. It's like maybe it's both, but it's like I always wished that all of North America or like the U.S. and Canada, because I would imagine Mexico is similar to that. But like I just wish that like at least Toronto had a fucking room of people that didn't give a shit from the drive to the venue.
I'm not gonna
You
say
know?
it doesn't exist, but I'm saying it's harder to find.
It's harder to find,
Yes.
exactly. It exists because, I mean, we've all been to shows in Toronto where people are having a fucking good time.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But it's like where everybody is equally at 11.
That's rare, but it's
That's
a,
rare.
Maybe
That,
it's
to
just
me, is,
like you have to be.
amazing.
It's just the culture,
Yeah,
dude. Like
and it's. I feel like it's
Maybe it's 'cause
in
we
North
have snow.
America specifically. I think it has a lot to do with the artists. Because I think in North America is not like the culture doesn't come specifically. Cultures come
It's all
from
over the
genres,
place.
from musical genres,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
you have your
absolutely.
skate punk, you have like your
You have trap,
indie
you have
pop,
R&B,
you have
jazz,
right? There's
pop punk versus hardcore punk.
Country.
exactly,
You
know.
but it's so defined.
Country.
Country,
country
western.
Country concerts go hard,
Subgenres
dude.
in
Oh,
it.
no,
Yeah.
they
If you
do.
don't, yeah, country concerts go hard.
they
Yeah.
do. It's actually too much because it's just people overdrink and then it's kind of gross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
In my
they go
opinion,
hard.
but- yeah, they do
But-
go hard.
In North America, I feel like it's very like it's not about the genre; it's about the artist.
Right.
So, for example, like I think that the last time I saw a crowd being at 11 was recently at My Chemical Romance.
Really?
Yes.
It was
Yeah,
like
I
that,
can see
eh?
that.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
No, dude, like
With
okay,
the hiatus.
as you know, as we
you know.
all like, as we all are very close to speakers all the time, loud
Yeah.
ones.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had a crowd of people have ring my ears.
Really?
That's
Like
beautiful.
I
Even
was
thinking-
far from stage. Like we
No,
were.
at Turnstile, the crowd was crazy, but they
But
weren't
it-
screaming.
they weren't screaming.
because we were moshing like.
I had my ears
animals.
wrung by the crowd. Like Jared Way was not singing.
Yeah,
No, he stops and like it was like
I can see that though.
it's incredible. I was like, this
NCR
is
has
an
also
11.
become a generational band.
Also, I've never seen
know?
so many grown men cry in my life. It was fucking
Holy-
unreal.
Never seen so many what?
Grown men
men.
cry.
Oh, really?
Like I'm talking about
Bro,
like
you need
your
to go see Susan Boyle, dude.
dude. Oh yeah,
Celine Dion.
dude. No,
I'm kidding.
honestly, from your from your elder emo
Yeah.
to like the 15-year-old that discovered them maybe through their parents because
Well, you
they're
know,
old
Oh,
enough.
wow.
Black Parade.
Through like the
I
guy-
love Black
through, like, the
Parade
gym bro
and
to, like,
Teenagers.
the
Those are
dude,
the only
like,
two songs I know from them. So
Led Zeppelin, U2,
Ah.
Stevie B, loving father of mine, was like in love and still likes or loves the Welcome to the Black Parade album.
we're totally
Like
listening to that on the way home
Oh,
now.
we are.
Like
It's in my,
front
it's
to
my,
back.
My favorite song
Bangers.
forever from them is "Famous Last Words." Like
Dude.
it comes on,
Dude,
and I
what about
like
the
I
jam?
scream in the car. Like I don't stop.
Okay,
What
we're-
about Give Them Blood? That's my favorite thing
That's
about that whole
that's
album
a great
is that like you listen to Famous Last Words and you have to wait like 6 minutes or
Yeah.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's just like, well, they encourage your complete cooperation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's the sickest shit ever.
It's so great.
You know, it's like you're listening to the CD in the car and you don't have time to change over CDs, and then you just hear bum 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 bum. You're
I
like,
mean, like, that
Gerard.
was the era of like it's what like in that time frame. It was like
Yeah.
the whole concept album.
yeah, yeah. And they were wearing
MCR's
the whole like,
yeah,
getup and
MCR's
stuff.
Black Parade, Green Day's American Idiot,
Ah,
Right.
Classic.
like the Mars Volta,
Oh.
the Mars Volta.
Yeah,
They have written stories about each album, I believe.
yeah.
wow.
Danny Powell, like I know you're watching
I
this.
love that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that all of their albums have like an actual short story, and each song defines a chapter.
Nice.
So like you can read it while listening to the tune. So it's like a
Wow,
double
that's
whammy
cool.
of an
We
experience.
were talking about the apparatus of whatever. We're like,
Yeah, Must Be Undone. Yeah, that's
like
from
the drums are played backwards and
yeah.
like are reversed and
it
shit,
sounds like
and
somebody's
sounds like
falling.
someone's yeah, it sounds like someone is falling.
like a
That's
flight.
cool.
Like you gotta
Yeah.
imagine that each like balcony is scooping out wind,
Yeah.
so you're hearing f.
That
That's
is
my
cool.
favorite. That's my
Right?
favorite martial art. The Last in the Comatorium. It's
Right.
about
Is this the
like
one with the gold head.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
the one with the gold head. It's basically in
Big nugget.
short synopsis. It's like, somebody goes into a coma, and then this like the main beef of the album is him experiencing things while in the coma, like lucid
Like in a
dreaming.
dream
yeah,
state?
in a dream state. Then wakes up and basically whatever he went through was too much, and he ends up unaliving himself, like jumping like from the hospital window.
Wow.
But that's the story of
Yeah.
the album.
I hope that's not a real story.
I love
I
that.
hope not.
yeah.
Favorite. This is gonna be a hard question and a really basic one, but I've never asked either of you this. Favorite song, period, and then best concert, period.
Oof. Wow.
I'm thinking about my answer as well, but I would just like
You're making me internally combust.
I am.
Yeah, see?
I am under pressure.
Yeah. Okay.
off the top of your head. Doesn't have to be like of all time, but just what pops in your mind, I guess.
The
I wouldn't hold you to
best concert off the top of my head.
it. Yes.
Heinz Field. I
Wow.
was like fucking 13, maybe younger. U2 360 tour.
Whew.
U2 is a band that I will say this forever is criminally underrated specifically by musicians
Nice.
of today.
I agree. Because the Edge,
Criminally underrated.
the Edge is one of those guitarists that has a signature sound. Period.
That
like,
has
period.
That has,
No before,
that
no
has
after.
Bounced like his influence has bounced between genres, but I'm not even talking musicianship. Of course, the musicianship in U2 is A plus list. I'm talking about a band's ability to constantly bring the fucking heat live with the entertainment, with the visuals, with the message, with the whole purpose. Like people love to give U2 shit like, "Oh, you're playing the same songs again," but they're basically rewriting the song for the tour. And the tour that I saw them on was the 360 tour, where they basically built, like, you know, the Bean in Chicago, like it's
Yeah.
like
Yes.
a city monument.
So it's an entire production, is
They
basically.
basically built a monument inside of every freaking arena.
That's very
They
cool.
had like double the amount of like transportation sets. So they would have the setup for one night, and while that night was happening, like if U2 concert was happening tonight, the next like tomorrow's or like show is already driving there. So they were running 2 stages, 2 full productions back and forth, and
That's expensive.
still paid attention to making sure everybody got paid, making sure they were as eco-friendly as possible considering the amount of transportation that had to
That's
be
cool.
done,
Yeah.
and not make the tickets too ridiculous at that time. Of course,
Fair.
they weren't cheap.
Mm-hmm.
You're playing like 40 to 60,000 people arenas and stuff. But I remember watching them in Heinz Field thinking, of course, U2 is big and has a lot of money to do this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't have to. I think Pearl Jam deserves a ton of respect. I'm not
I
hating
love
on them.
Pearl Jam.
But I saw live videos of their show, and I'm like, I feel like people are paying to watch you rehearse. You're not doing anything to really show me that you are continuously being creative, given that your catalog, your discography is tenured, and people want to hear those songs. You're not doing anything to bring added value to the show to justify me going to see you.
yeah.
Whereas U2, you can like please go to YouTube and look at what they've done through every single era. Like they've taken, this is what you think U2 looks like. We're not even gonna clean the drawing board. We're just gonna buy a fucking new board.
Mad respect
know?
for people who utilize their platform.
And
Yeah.
but do it in a way that's like, here's how you can continue to be pure artists.
Yeah.
I'm not saying
Inspiring.
that they're not fucking making money. Dude, their accountant loves them.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
But the 360 tour was like a center stage, like a donut hole, right, where the band would play on, and from that it was 3 legs, and what they did with this massive fucking 3-legged thing is that the type of material that they put on top actually absorbed sound that was bouncing off of all of the metal, so you had an actual 360 scope sound at any spot in the arena, because this monument
cool.
was absorbing sound. So it was like doing its fucking job of like mixing itself. They had
And that makes the
they had
that
a
just makes the
monument,
experience for the listeners so much
they had
cooler.
an inanimate object mix itself. Like what? Then in the spine was LED lights that were like 12 inches, like this big, right? And there was a multitude of them that ran 360.
That's
and
dope.
then they would expand and play all these different visuals and images of the band, or it would like contract. Then you have the screen, you have the three-legged thing, you have the center stage, and then they had 3 bridges to an outer ring of the stage. And so they would be on these bridges while the bridges are spinning. You know the image of man trying to like touch God at the fingertip, right? Like that. Yeah. Like the Edge and Bono would be singing like mysterious ways, and they'd be like replicating this. Like
That's cool.
We saw like Ultraviolet. Bono had this like large diaphragm microphone with a red like almost motorcycle or like steering wheel like fucking thing.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, he's like 45 or 50 or whatever.
Cool.
He's running on the outer ring, holding onto the microphone in the air, literally floating around the whole stage, like flying essentially, and singing a super soft, high falsetto song. And I'm like, the dude's like Jean-Claude Van Damme, but Irish, and he's singing so well, and he's flying. Like, and I'm like, that to me like is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Like, there's Turnstile was a great show, and Pup and Billy Talent. And
Pup
stuff,
was cool.
you know. But it's
Yeah.
like these guys are like, this could go to shit, and then we're fucked.
Yeah.
Who cares? Like, let's make it work.
Yeah.
Generation at like year after year after year.
Yeah. Fair enough.
You know, like
Consistency.
I saw them in Montreal in 2019. It was like a really wide like rectangle, so that both sides of the arena could like see them. And then the people on the side here had like this double stage thing, and they're standing 10 feet off the ground basically in a TV, and then performing. And I'm like, you blow my mind every time.
That is cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
So we got
I'm
Ian's
talking about.
answer. We
So
got
Leo's
Ian's answer.
Man, that's I don't know. I think there's 2 that are equally as good.
Mm-hmm.
Alexis on Fire. I know. Everybody
I
that
know.
knows
No,
me.
but
He's gonna
it
be like
was
born and raised.
It was
No,
your
no.
experience there.
That's a
I
different.
know.
That's a different experience.
Yeah, of course.
At the Danforth Music Hall, 2000. I believe it was 2017.
Okay. It was a brisk fall morning. I'm kidding.
It was a winter night.
Nights, yeah.
And it snowed. And if you're an Alexis,
never
no. If
the
you're an Alexis
weather.
fan, you know that the album and the song called "Crisis" relates
Is
to
it with the hands?
with the hands.
Yes,
Yeah. It relates. The song called "Crisis" relates to a snowstorm. It's literally about a snowstorm, like the big
new.
snowstorm in 1977.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I know songs.
Yeah. Right. So like, it was like the perfect storm. Like it was the perfect storm.
Yeah.
Walking into the venue, freezing your guts out, knowing that it's snowing outside, and George Pettit, excellent vocalist, excellent frontman, if you want to call him. I think they're all frontmen, to be honest, in that band.
I would agree with that for sure.
Yeah, he goes like, "It's snowing Toronto, it's fucking snowing Toronto."
Nice.
And then they start with the riff, and I'm like,
yeah, that's
like
fucking badass.
it's tunnel vision for me. And
Cool.
secondly, I saw Green Day in probably one of their worst performing album series, like Uno Dos and
I was
Tres.
gonna
Did
say-
Catfish and the Bottlemen open for them?
I don't recall. It was 2000 and
I don't recall.
it was no, I don't recall. It was 2013 or 2012.
Okay, I think that
It
was
a
later
while.
on. When
It was
they
at
did-
the ACC, and it had shit seats. And I've never seen a band perform so well in my entire life.
That is
Holy
that
shit.
is the one thing I like about
and
Green
it's
Day.
bare bones. Like it's
Yeah.
not like U2.
Was
with
it
this
just
whole
stage
production.
presence? Like
It was.
It's just
yeah,
the energy.
It's
like
the
they
energy.
fucking have. There's something about
Like,
Green Day's live performance that they just fucking.
All
I haven't
they
seen them.
had was a Green Day like fonted like light structure behind them. That was it.
yeah.
And the big screens at the ACC or
Yeah.
the Scotiabank Center, whatever. Right? Like that was it.
Yeah.
It was incredible. Like
There's something about that, like when bands just have that like
Stage
energy
presence.
that they just exert.
Yeah.
You know, like one of my favorite videos is Kings of Leon live at the O2.
I
And
love
there's
Kings
like,
and
it's like there's like this energy that's like coming out of the TV screen.
Yeah.
And it was, I'm watching it 8 years after it happened, and it's like they were just in that fucking aura that day. That I feel like Green Day taps into like literally every night.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not the biggest fan of the music, certainly respect them as musicians. I feel like every time they perform, they're like outside of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
You
Oh,
know?
100%.
And they just have that energy,
That
which
is
is
cool.
fucking sick.
They,
like,
I
to
feel
be able
like
to do that.
they literally convert into their personas, right? Like
Yeah.
like they're different people. You see them in interviews. They're like really nice dudes.
I feel like everyone kind of has a bit of an alter ego when they go on
Oh,
stage.
yeah.
Like, not an alter ego. That sounds very Jekyll and Hyde, but
Freddie is free.
like you can be whoever you want to be. Like you're just, no one's bothering you. You don't have to talk to anyone. You're literally just like in your element. And
Yeah.
so different things pull out of you.
Yeah.
So what's your favorite? Well, I know you said favorite song, which is fucking hard.
Yeah,
I
you don't have
cannot.
to answer
Yeah, I
that.
know.
That's
'Cause, like,
okay.
it's
I
fucking
know.
everything,
That's
you know?
okay. Performance-wise, I have been to a shit ton of concerts like over the past 4.5 months. But I don't have... There's different favorites for different reasons, obviously.
course.
I am personally a fan of smaller bands and smaller venues. I have been blown away this summer by like the amount of talent I've seen just locally. Could totally like sell out arenas if they had, like the time and
Yeah.
like the fan base and whatever. But my favorite was the Backseat Lovers concert at Phoenix Concert Hall. And I don't know if that's just because I'm a pretty big fan, but when the guitar goes like right through you, I'm a big, like, I love electric guitar. Like the
Yeah.
sound of it, it's just like, I don't know. It's awesome.
Like that Dave Chappelle skit with John Mayer.
What is it?
You ever seen that? With
No.
John Mayer and Questlove? Like there's like he goes to like a cubicle where there's like this conference meeting, like, little office floor or whatever, and they're all talking, they're like, yeah, the stats and numbers and blah blah blah. And then John Mayer comes in and starts playing the electric guitar, and then they're like and they start getting up, and then the woman
Yeah,
starts
that's
taking
me.
off her jacket.
Yeah.
and
That is me.
he's like doing this,
100%.
and then he stops, and they're like, and they, like, put it in the sit
Oh
back
my
down.
God, that's
Backseat
hilarious.
Lovers.
So funny.
I need
'cause
to
then
see
they
this.
They had Questlove playing at a barber shop, and he starts playing the beat, and they're all talking, cutting hair, and then they're just like grooving and talking, and then dudes just start dancing and shit.
Yeah.
And then he stops, and they're like, "What the fuck? Like, why'd you stop?" And he's like, "Go fuck."
That's hilarious.
So
No,
jokes.
yeah, that concert was insane, and I luckily got to shoot it, and that made it like a bajillion times
Yeah, of
better.
course.
And the security was so amazing that they literally let me finish watching the show in the VIP section.
Damn.
And
Nice.
I know, and my best friend was like, literally, I didn't know where she was. She also had tickets for the show.
Yeah.
And I just looked over. There was like a barricade that separated the VIP section and the GA. And I just looked over and she was right there. So we spent the rest of the concert together. I was like, oh my God, what are the odds? Like
Yeah,
we were
for
both,
sure.
it was just the vibes were immaculate. And their guitar is just insane. Like such an underrated, cool indie band.
What's the most expensive concert y'all have been to?
Oof.
The Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
I had floor seats for that one.
Yeah, that's I could
Yeah,
see that's
which
expensive.
is definitely on my list of top
I
like concerts.
I don't know.
Also, the Eagles. The
Yeah, I
Eagles.
could see that being
Yeah.
really
Oh my God! Yeah, and I
expensive.
had third row floors for that one.
Yeah.
That was my grad gift from
Yeah.
my mom. So
I don't know.
I think I probably would assume.
I know which one I spent the most money this year.
Yeah.
which
I would
was?
say U2 would have to be the most expensive,
How-
just because it's U2. I
Mm.
don't
Yeah.
think I've been to anything.
I feel like by $10, I know the difference.
right.
The most expensive has been my chem this year. But like I don't know. Because
Everyone
the
else
second
at home,
most
let me check something real
expensive
quick.
one is Maniskin, $190 versus $200 for my chem. So like that's probably the most expensive this year that I was like, okay, I'm gonna spend the money and go, right?
No, Chili Peppers were like
Yeah.
so much more than that.
Yeah, I know.
But it was 1,000% worth it.
Yeah.
1,000%.
Now, quick question to counteract that one.
Hmm.
What's the worst performance you've ever seen?
I don't want to name drop. I can't.
No,
It
no,
was-
no,
I'm
no, no,
trying to
no. I'm
think.
talking about like big artists that you did
Oh,
not
okay.
expect.
Not local bands.
Not local bands.
Yeah, because like that's
Maroon 5. That was
can see that.
so underrated. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
sorry,
Overrated.
overrated,
Yeah, I could see that for
underwhelming,
sure.
underwhelming.
Well, like
so sad.
You can't have
Regret
that
going.
conversation with local bands because it's like there are some bands that this is their fucking first show.
Yeah,
Right, no,
of
like,
course,
that's-
you're
but
right.
For like bands, like in the sense that like they don't have a day job, they haven't had a day job in 8 years or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm
Okay,
trying
gotcha.
to think. Honestly, it would. I don't think there's been a show that I went to that I paid to see the one artist of that night where I was like, this was shit.
Hmm.
Because I feel
That's
like I
good.
would remember that. But there were some performances on the last Warped Tour in 2017 that was just fucking blech, garbage. I was like, what the fuck?
Please name drop. I am interested.
Some Shark something, War something. I can't remember.
Wage War?
Tooth.
Beartooth.
No, Beartooth had its era rather that was like pretty good. And then
No,
they kinda
I
did, like,
just
shit for
saw.
a bit.
I saw a
actually
snip of
met
it.
Caleb. In
Oh, really?
2015. Yeah, he was walking. You can actually. I don't know if Jessica Carrington will remember actually, but we were walking away from someone's set, like 303 or something. We just didn't give a shit about, like something. And he was just walking like with his hoodie on, and I was like, "You're Caleb," and he's like, "Oh, hey, man," and I was so excited to meet him. And then everyone's like, "Oh yeah, let's grab a picture." And then fucking Jess was like, "Wait, who are you?" And he's like, "I'm nobody." And I was like, "Why did you do that, man? Like, what the hell?"
I love that. No,
But-
like I love Beartooth.
They're
Like,
fantastic.
It's fantastic
Yeah.
band.
I mean, there was a little bit. It was like a year or two where it kind of felt like it was like median plateau. But that first 2 albums that
Oh,
they
yeah.
have.
Rip.
But yeah, like I think the band's called Sharp Tooth.
What about you, Leo?
The All American Rejects.
Oh my, he didn't even hesitate.
No, it was. I paid to see them
Where was it?
in Houston
Oh, okay.
Ooh,
at the House of Blues.
Ooh,
House of
cool
Blues. I've always wanted to
venue.
go there.
Me too.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's like several all over the states.
Oh, right, yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I was in Houston. Wow, I was like, this is the most disappointing experience.
That's sad.
Really?
Yeah, I half lied to my mother to be here, and this is what I got.
Half lied.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Hi,
Piggybacking
Mom.
off that, same question I had before, best live performance, but local bands only.
But what's your worst?
I said Maroon 5.
Maroon 5. That's
It was
right.
horrible.
Maroon 5.
It was absolutely horrible.
Yeah, I don't
My
know if you
favorite
asked.
song from them is "She Will Be Loved," and they sped it up. And
Songs about Jane is like their best.
Oh
Songs
my
About Jane
God.
is Maroon 5.
it is
There's
Yes.
no
the
after.
best
Thank you.
album.
There's no
Thank you.
before.
Anything past that, no, thank you. But I was really looking forward to that song because I
Yeah.
love it, and it was just horrible. It wasn't. It didn't sound anything like this, like recorded version.
Is it recording?
I think it's dead.
It died?
Yeah, because I just redid it. I think it's dead.
All right, well,
Oh.
we got you guys here, and I'm going to...
But yeah, same question. Best live performance, but local bands only. And you can't say yourself.
Leo Montero.
What kind of guy do you think I am, bro?
I'm just kidding.
I don't know. There's been quite a few that have been.
Yeah. Okay, top
Excellent.
3, just the list. Top 3. Bing, bang, boom.
I got it.
Bro, yeah, I got to think about that, too. Okay, the first one that comes to mind
Mm-hmm.
is the band Playing with Fire.
Oh,
Okay.
those dudes.
They're great.
Rip.
What venue was it at?
It was at fucking Horseshoe Tavern. I
Okay.
played with Daniel Monte. But their
Cool.
set at Linsmore
Yeah.
was just
Yeah.
as fucking good.
Nice.
But they just sounded better because of the room that they were in at Horseshoe. Horseshoe just absorbs sound,
Yeah, it's
Like-
Yeah.
it's interesting.
you know? Who else? Like, there's so many that I'm thinking of.
Wow. This makes me happy, though,
It makes
because
me happy. Yeah, it
Toronto
makes me feel
talent is
hopeful.
awesome.
Agreed.
Mm,
You know?
I can't really think of the top of my head, man.
At all? No,
Playing
nothing
with Fire
just
is one
pops
of
in?
them.
I feel like this is a collective. Like I always recall Moondoggy playing the Horseshoe Tavern.
Moondoggy's really good.
Really,
really good.
I think.
Sweet Ramona.
Yeah, he always get your way.
Yeah.
I'm definitely. I keep forgetting to download their music, but that's my vibe type of music.
If you're Moondoggy, if you're listening to this, get into the studio, guys, please.
Also,
we
thanks
need
for
more.
listening.
Oh yeah.
We need more. Excellent band, excellent guys.
Really, really cool.
I always have fun watching Mile End perform.
Who?
Me too. The one time
Mile End,
the one time I saw
Flower City
Mile
Hardcore.
End.
I've never seen them.
Speaking of the genre, recently I saw Rust.
Dude, I want
At the Doors Pub. It was the sweatiest, hottest room on planet
Was that
Earth.
at the Doors?
At the Doors
Pub
in
Yeah.
Hamilton, yeah. But
Man.
what a fucking show!
That one, those.
And
pictures
I
look wild.
was shooting it.
Yeah.
Like I was there with my camera, so I was not really enjoying it as much as I could have. But wow,
I have a good one.
What?
So, I have always liked Rise Carmine's music since I heard it. We had them on the pod,
Oh,
and
I
I heard the
keep
song.
missing them. I haven't seen them live yet.
I heard their music. No coup for anyone, because I actually reached out to him as Freddie when Freddie was like.
I've been trying to do photos for them for like bare time. Yeah.
I may have something for you, but I can't talk about it.
Wow.
But I heard No Coup for Anyone. Awesome tune. Heard the album when it came out. Loved the album cover of like the sticks and the hands. Met them because you helped me interview them.
yeah.
And then saw like 2 songs at NXNE. And I was like, I need more of this. And then finally, like 2 Fridays ago, got to see them at
I was supposed to go to that,
They
but I was
are-
shooting a wedding.
They are amazing. Their sound is one of the most original sounds I've heard come out
Very
of
cool.
this country.
That makes me happy.
And the thing is that I love about them is that I know that I want to say I know because I've only talked to Liam about this briefly. I shouldn't say I know. I feel strongly that they are consciously using like music techniques and theories to help write and help guide their songs, but they're doing it in a way that's so. It sounds so good. It's like it doesn't sound like they're using theory to wow you or using techniques.
Cool.
Like you listen to the Police and it's like you can tell these guys are very clear in what they're playing, but you don't think of that
Mm-hmm.
No.
because it's like this is the Police, right? And like they did a cover of "Lost in Yesterday" by Tame Impala that they just released, which everyone should go listen to that because
Yeah.
it's great.
It's a great cover.
It literally it doesn't sound like Rise Carmine is trying to sound like Tame Impala. And it doesn't sound like Rise Carmine is stealing lyrics and chords and then making a Rise Carmine song. Like, it feels like they're doing that song the perfect blend of, like, this is us and this is Tame Impala. And look at, like, it feels like one of those awesome TikTok mashups.
Cool.
Like, as a song, you know?
Yeah, I was supposed to shoot them originally back in May, and then I couldn't make it because I was shooting Pup, and I passed them Leo's information, and now Leo shoots for them.
Yeah, I've shot them twice.
But actually, they reached out to me first about like the Monarch show.
Yeah.
And I couldn't make that because I had a wedding, and
That was
so
a really good show.
then
Vivian
Leo shot that
Wilder.
one
Yeah.
again.
That's another great performer,
Yeah,
Vivian
Vivian
Wilder. I bought her
Wilder.
2 of her CDs, and I've been listening to them in the
Really?
car. She's great. She also produced with Darren McGill, who's a fantastic producer. So
We were
it
listening-
just compliments her.
Who were you listening to in the car on the way here? I can't remember his name now. Oh, Dawson Gamble.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Dawson Gamble.
Pretty good.
Very, very good.
Yeah,
never
like
heard of him.
great, like electric guitar, really like cool lyrics. Well, not cool, but just like very good. You know, like good songwriting. His voice is awesome. I
I
saw
do
him.
have a local band that is not a local band anymore, but I absolutely love their music, and that is Late Kings. Sean Winnick's.
Yes, they are.
Shout out Sean
were-
Winnick. Sean,
Yeah, shout out to Sean.
What about FKV?
I love FKB.
I've
never
They're-
seen them
but
live.
they're not local to Toronto.
No,
though.
but like we saw them at Canadian Music Week in Toronto.
Edmonton's finest.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. They were great. I'm still blown away by that performance.
Yeah, that performance is one of the best live performances I've ever seen.
Wow.
Possum.
Ever.
Possum.
Yeah.
The band Possum.
Possum.
Shout out to Gemma at the soundtrack. Bless her soul. She's an angel. Allowed me to do Doors when she did like a whole showcase with the soundtrack. Possum played. And the 2 security guards / like door lady that was working with me, we were like, oh, this is, fun and great psychedelic rock. And then Possum guitarist started just fucking shredding. I think they have a
that.
song called The Hills or something like that. And all of us were just looking at the guest list and stuff, and we all looked at each other like... And then
I
we
love those
like
moments.
stopped the line
Yeah. I like
and did fucking... And then after that, we're like, damn, like this band is sick as fuck.
I feel like we
They're
need
great.
just to make we need to talk about this after this podcast because there's a
Yes.
lot of names throwing around, and I just need to like download them into my library. Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
cool, eh? Last point, or not point, but my full answer, or not full answer. I don't really know.
The second half of
The second half, well, my answer, because I only gave throughout FKB, Free Label,
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
which you both have not seen live yet.
No, we have not.
They have,
So
okay,
overdue.
this is what I have to say. They just have this like stage presence that is just like magic. And there's 6 of them, and they all just play together so well. They don't rehearse. I don't know how they don't rehearse, but they don't. And they all just let, like, everyone will solo, and like Cole on the keys will solo, and then they'll all just like go to the side of the stage and like let him do his thing. And they all have their own like moments, but no one overshadows anyone else. They get the crowd dancing. They have improv, or they have like a little story, and it's just like, it's just so fun. Like, they are a party band. Yeah, I could go on about it, but yeah, one of my favorite or underrated like local Toronto bands, and I think they're gonna get famous.
Oh, I think so too.
Absolutely. They're on the right
I hear
track.
people that aren't in the industry in that sense talk about them
Really?
and ask like, "Oh, you know them?" Like they're like, "You must know them." I'm like, "I've never met them. I've never even seen them." And then they're like,
There's
you
just,
guys?
I don't know, like even it's one thing to download their songs, listen to it on Spotify,
Yeah.
but it's completely
They
different when you see them
seem like a
live.
band.
They are 1,000% a live
Yeah.
band, and if you see them live, you'll be a fan. Like, just moving forward, because it's like, how can you not? They're just too good.
Well, we shall close on that note. Go see live Toronto music.
Yeah.
Go
Support local, please.
Support local,
local.
because all your favorite bands were small at one time.
Yes.
And that does include Justin Bieber.
Ugh.
Okay. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thanks
We
for having
appreciate you,
me.
Of course. Episode 26, Flat 5 Podcast. Go follow Joanna.Roselli.
Thank you.
Roseii.
Double L.
Double L.
Double I.
Roselli.
Roselli. Rosalie.
Thank you. Thank you for
Of
that.
course, yes. And Leo, as always.
At Truffle Images, bitches. You already know.
There you go. Follow Flat 5 on all the audio,
Do
whether
it.
it be Apple, Google, Deezer, Spreaker, Spotify, you name it. Follow our TikTok. We're going to be doing a lot more there. And hopefully, not hopefully, the plan is to get more balanced, legitimate conversation and like personality pieces and that stuff throughout, season 3. So thank y'all so much. I'll get in camera frame now. Cheers. Take care, y'all. Brush your hair. Bye-bye.
Brush your hair
Yeah.
and your teeth.
And your teeth.
And your
and your
teeth,
balls.
you stinky person.